talking about FEEBEE, the Framework for Ethical and Empowering Biodesign and Engagement Evaluation, which is a software tool developed by myself and my team at ES Biodesign, also known as Equity Systems Consulting. And I'm Rene Canady.
Of course you are.
So, ES Biodesign levels up medical device teams by improving their early stage design for market, compliance, and patient success. Our vision this year is to empower 30 companies to change the trajectory of their designs radically, and we are here for a world of biodesign that empowers all. So, we're addressing a lot of problems here. This is the pathway of making a medical device, a medical product typically. We don't know what's going on in the designers' heads. They only understand so much about the world. A lot of us are big nerds, right? We don't know who to build for. Then we try to get it through the FDA or some sort of regulatory body, spending millions on consulting, and they fail. And then we actually get to manufacturing if we make it that far, and we have some issues there, recalls and everything else. And by the time it actually makes it in a customer's hands, they're actually not pleased with it because this person didn't know this person. But even worse, a lot of these things fail to actually develop. 90% of medical device companies fail, and there's a $42 billion a year productivity loss actually from folks not getting the proper medical products they need. Even worse, health disparities and death are a huge problem, right? When we think about this little device right here, a Fitbit, these actually don't work very well if you have tattooed skin on your wrist. They don't work very well if you have dark skin because of something called the green light effect. That also exists in pulsimeters and pulse oximeters and a ton of other medical technology that's out there. Also, think about how this would actually track your physical activity if you were a wheelchair user. Lots of problems with different people, and if you talk about who these devices are for, the market is a lot more narrow than it needs to be, right? So, we've gone through years and years of needs finding, starting with a lab study funded by the National Science Foundation in 2023, where we were studying how race is embedded in the biomedical product creation process. And it wasn't just race, it was also culture and gender and all of these social things that often engineers don't think about. And we figured out a lot of things and said, okay, great, we know where people are lacking. If we ask them questions, we can bring some awareness to how they're designing, make them make things more inclusively. And we put out these little bitty design justice quizzes where they were 5 questions, and you get back your result, and we tell you to work on some stuff. No one liked this. No one wants a quiz that says, are you racist? No one's gonna pay you for it. No one wants to receive the feedback, even if it's free. They were trying to change their scores. Like, well, actually, makes sense, right? No one wants to be critiqued. So, because of our DEI language and the way that people approached it, it made us realize that we need to actually go and speak the language of designers. And as someone who is a biomedical engineer, I was like, okay, I can talk to my network. So that led to us doing some customer discovery through I-Core and a program at Carnegie Mellon University about medical device development. And that always requires some sort of assessment and design tool. So we still stuck with the idea of we're gonna help people by assessing and improving their designs. So getting to what FEEBEE actually is. FEEBEE combines ethical AI, expert oversight, and design change recommendations using multidisciplinary data analysis. We are taking market data, we're talking consumer reports, we're also taking healthcare data. We have Andura with all of us, so looking at patient records. We're also looking at sociological data, which typical engineers don't think about, although the larger companies, they invest in a lot of social science because they think about consumer behavior. We combine all of this into one easy-to-use tool. If you were a user of FEEBEE, all you would do is gather your documents. You're going to put all of that documentation literally into one folder, upload it, and talk about what your device is. Our next step is the calculator will actually run. So I built this calculator manually, not using AI. So this platform calculates several indices and sums them all together to say, oh, is your design really going to do some good, or do we think this is going to be a flop, right? So again, based on if it empowers users, based on if it's going to be great with compliance pathways, and is it actually viable to the people that you are trying to market to. And lastly, you get your report. It's an actionable report with recommendations, strengths, shortcomings, and funding opportunities that are relevant to the specific product you're working on. So when thinking about who would buy FEEBEE, we have several different customers, but we spent a lot of time talking to someone who was the CEO of a industrial design firm who makes a lot of medical products as well as other products, and is starting a Class 2 venture med device studio in Pittsburgh. And she was talking about the issue with documentation and how you have to hurry up and get things out for the client, right? Satisfying the client is the ultimate goal. So we said, actually, we can help with this. We can help get their documentation together, give them risks and everything else. But there's some other people who we thought were great customers as well. Early stage startups, right? If I can tell you what's going to go right and go wrong, you don't have to go and buy a SolidWorks, subscription and waste all that money. Same with universities and research labs, which often don't know anything about the financial side of things or thinking about public health impacts. And investors, of course. I talked to a few investors who are really excited about this because when they are doing their due diligence, their technical due diligence, how are you able to actually assess if something is going to be good or not? I mean, it's somewhat based on the people you know, but is there a way to actually get to that nitty-gritty? Because again, not everyone is an expert on everything. It's simply not possible. So it's a really great holistic tool for these people in the field. We got a lot of traction last year. We had some clients through parts and pieces of our development process and started working with accelerators, had some workforce development things with Stanford Biodesign, got involved with research, and actually started a pilot this year. So, looking at our market, I don't need to read all of this, but $500 billion is honestly potentially a conservative estimate of the way global medtech is growing. But there's so many driving factors of why we were starting with the devices that are just worn right here on our skin. Think of glucose meters, think of casts and everything else that just affect our lives every day, right? There's a big trend in that. So we save you a lot of money at a lot of different parts in the process and stop all of those gaps in the leaky pipeline we were talking about earlier, ultimately leading to more satisfied people throughout the entire design pathway. So we have myself, our AI developer, our systems engineer, and we are actually looking to onboard a data science fellow sometime soon. We have our advisors from D/D Health Tech, which is based out of Stanford Biodesign, as well as FEEBEE Innovation, and our international AI governance expert, Nicole, who has been very helpful in formulating and thinking about the problems that we want to solve for. So, did I skip something? Okay. The impact of building this. So we just found out this week that we are semi-finalists for Arch Grants, and I'm really excited about that. Thank you guys. Also won a Community Impact Award for the way that we chose to build and design this last year, because we were very focused on creating social impact, but also the economic and the financial side. So the triple bottom line matters a lot to us. So thank you guys for your time, for your patience. We're really interested in learning more about funding opportunities. I really just want to get plugged into the St. Louis ecosystem. It matters that I build here, and thinking about potential development partners as we go through and continue this. So again, thank you all for your time. You can scan the QR code and get a lot of information about us. I've added most of you on LinkedIn, but happy to answer any questions and also open to comments and feedback.